I have been making barbecue sauce for a couple of years now. Our ultimate favorite barbecue sauce, if we had to buy it from the store, is this Texas style barbecue sauce from Aldi. We absolutely love it.
Because I love it so much, I decided to take my favorite barbecue sauce recipe for canning and build to the flavors I wanted to make it taste just like the bottled sauce. I'm so happy with the results. It's perfectly sweet and tangy with a punch of smoky flavor from liquid smoke. You will love this barbecue sauce. Use it over pulled pork sandwiches, ribs, little smokies, or pizza crust. I use fresh tomatoes as a base and all the amazing flavors to create that classic robust barbecue flavor. First, you'll want to wash all the fresh tomatoes. We picked these up at a local peach stand near us, but you can use any tomatoes that you have on hand, fresh, canned, or even tomato juice. Cut, trim, and quarter the tomatoes. I'm using my favorite 24 quart pot that is a staple if you do lots of canning. It was actually recommended to me by some of my Mennonite friends and was one of the best kitchen investments that I made. I'll link the same one down below. It's super sturdy and stainless steel, so I think you will love it too. So yeah, the rest of the process is pretty much the same. I'm gonna get down to the bottom of the bowl and continue cutting and trimming any bad spots. I'm also using half of a 25-pound box of fresh tomatoes, which will give me approximately 5 quarts of tomato juice and is about 12.5 pounds. And now we bring all the tomatoes to a boil and we want to mush the tomatoes up. So it's going to take me about 30 to maybe 40 minutes to get them really soft. I'm going to keep stirring. And you want it to be really mushy so it can be easy to blend. I'm going to add the onions, stir it in. And now I'm going to take out my favorite stick blender and blend all of that up to a smooth puree. I love to do this with my ketchup recipe too. It's so easy. You just blend everything right in the pot that it's cooking down in, and it's just amazing. I love this. I highly recommend a stick blender for this kind of job. You don't need a food mill or anything fancy, just simple equipment. So yeah, take your time and blend that really well. Might take you somewhere around 5 minutes or so, but just make it into a smooth puree. Okay, we're going to be adding the rest of our ingredients in. So I'm going to start with Worcestershire sauce, honey, thanks to my husband who harvests honey. Molasses. Now I'm going to add the liquid smoke, and I highly recommend mixing Mesquite and Hickory together. I like to use both because both have their unique smoky flavors, so definitely mix and match there. Now I know this barbecue sauce calls for a lot of vinegar, but that's what will give you that tart, tangy, smoky barbecue flavor, so definitely no skimping here. We're going to add the rest of our spices. Little bit of ketchup. Okay, now we're going to remove about 2 cups of the barbecue sauce for thickening later with the Thermflo and cook the barbecue sauce down to about half. Just let it simmer away. I like to wash my jars with hot running water. Those of you who don't know what Thermflo is, it's actually a canning thickener. It's safe for canning or freezing. and it's usually found at Mennonite grocery stores or Mennonite bakeries. You can also buy it online. I'll link it down below. But yeah, it will thicken the barbecue sauce, so definitely use it. I don't recommend using cornstarch, so don't substitute Thermflo with cornstarch because it can change your flavor of the barbecue sauce. Another tip to keep in mind is never use hot reserved barbecue sauce. It will lump up the Thermflo and it will be so hard to just stir. I've already learned my lesson a couple times, so I'm just letting you know to always cool the reserved barbecue sauce mixture before adding it to the Thermflo, and just whisk it in and it should thicken. After you add the Thermflo, you could simmer the barbecue sauce a little more to your desired thickness. It can be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how thin your sauce is and what kind of tomatoes you have used. Okay, now fill the jars to the headspace. This recipe makes about 7 jars of barbecue sauce. You'll want to wipe clean the lid of each jar so they seal during the water bath process. I like to loosely shut each jar because I've had lids that bulged on me when I would tightly shut them. So you'll want to shut them, but not too tight. Enough room for the band to move back and forth. We'll twist them shut after the water bath, so no worries. A water bath is when you boil the jars in water. Never place jars straight into boiling water. You'll want to place the filled jars into a pot first, then pour warm tap water over the jars. Then you can bring everything to a boil. Shocking the jars with extremely hot or cold water can burst open the jars. Once the water has come to a rolling boil, you'll want to set your timer for 20 minutes. Then you'll want to remove the jars with a jar lifter. Now you can tightly shut each jar using a kitchen towel. And there you go, homemade barbecue sauce made in one pot. "20 minutes is the perfect amount of time to water bath barbecue sauce. Look at those bubbles inside that jar. Now just let the jars cool for at least 24 hours before checking if the lids have sealed. You don't want to press down at all during this cooling process. The lid is sealed if you hear no clicking sound. Now you can remove the bands and put it on your pantry shelf for years. Use it in your favorite recipes calling for barbecue sauce. Enjoy.